Greeting, traveler.
Change your mind.
You require my assistance? We're gonna be rich. Require my assistance? Who am I?
Let me change your mind.
Greeting, traveler.
change your mind.
Good evening, everybody. It's that time of the week. You know what that means. Yes, it's Wednesday. Yes, we get to start the hump day jokes. And yes, we are one day closer to the weekend. But it also means we're here for another episode of Tavern Talk, the show where we like to provide our hot takes and bad takes alike. Sometimes they're one and the same. But regardless, I'm here tonight, of course. I'm your host, one of your hosts, J.R. Juggerlaw, and I am joined by my two regular co-hosts. First off, we have the master of OPs, the man who is not a doctor, but he is definitely part fish. Say hello to Dr. Fish.
Hello everybody. Hello everybody. I was muted at first.
Whoops.
Hello everybody. I'm doing quite well myself. I'm excited for this. We're winding down. We're in the back half of the season for everything. We even have a series going into playoffs that was covered yesterday on Hearth Center. Yeah, I'm ready to go. And JR, there you go. Welcome. Thank you for your 28-month subscription with Twitch Prime. Oh man, that's almost 2.5 years. Let's go.
I mean, yeah. I mean, once I realized you could, kind of a no-brainer.
Ooh.
So,
Yeah.
And yes, we've got, and then of course we cannot forget my other co-host, who I would say is elemental, but is also flowery. Say hello to Geranium Battle.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I think today I'm going to embody the bad takes that you were talking about earlier on in the show. I know it's something that people love to hear from us. Is sometimes the hotter takes, and so I hope to bring them tonight.
Yes. Love to give the spicy take.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And what a better place to start than in Hero.
Yeah, so we've got ourselves, as for those who are new and haven't watched before, we're only going to be talking about Hero, Legacy, and Pro. If you guys are interested in watching a show devoted to talking about Wild, you should check out Wild and Out, which will be on tomorrow. So let's get right to it, though. Hero, we're going to be starting off with my match, actually, the one that I picked. We're going to be starting with at Diamond versus Mast. Now, Hero Series right now is looking pretty cool. We are into week 8, of course, so there are 4 weeks left of play, including this one, and it's pretty close right now. I decided to go with 2 teams that are definitely in the running. At Diamond, of course, they are currently in second place right now, right behind F2L Black. With a 5-2 record, they actually have the best record of the entire series right now, of all the teams. Doing very well right now, of course, made up of Always Just in Time, Lotus Knight, Mick, Diamond, and Roofski. And then on the other side, we have Mast. I'm seeing in the chat, Mick has already beaten Always Lethal 3-1. So right now at Diamond is actually, they've got a 4-1 lead to start it off. I mean, that just that just makes this even easier for us now, doesn't it, gentlemen? But then we've got Mast on the other side, who are definitely struggling by comparison. They are currently in ninth place out of the 12 teams. But you know what? They are still definitely in that race, that with, enough weeks left. I think that they could definitely pull something off. But these guys are definitely a strong team. Of course, we've got Youngster, Alien Santa, Always Lethal, Mako, and Saku. But unfortunately, despite the fact that I think Mast could end up pulling off an interesting comeback in the next few weeks, I think this is at Diamond's match to lose. I think Always Just in Time is going to beat Youngster. I do think Santa's actually going to beat Lotus Knight. Mick, of course, as we said, already beat Always Lethal. I'm going to give Diamond the edge over Mako here. I mean, Diamond is having one hell of a Hero season. And Roofski versus Saku, I'm I'm gonna give it to Saku here. I'm gonna give my man the edge. But I am still gonna say at Diamond takes this one 3-2. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think exactly the opposite of you. So I think that I actually think that the Yoxter, really hard for me to say. I think the Mage Bring is actually a pretty heads up bring here. Really counters the Warlock well. Counters maybe some of the more quest hunter options that Justin might have been looking to bring. And could bait Justin into bringing more of an Anaconda Druid, which is a very, very, direct counter, but, can only really counter the mage here. I feel like that Mage Bring is actually going to give him a little bit of an edge here, and he'll beat Justin. I think Lotus has been having a rough season in Hero, but he will bounce back and take it over Alien Santa. I think Always Lethal has higher PR, so he's going to beat Mick, even though it's already updated as Mick winning. And I think that Mako is going to bring Diamond a bit closer down to earth. Diamond hasn't been doing super well recently. And then I think Roofski will take it over Saku. Once again, the sort of the shaman and the paladin in Roofski's lineup, I think, are going to serve him well against Saku's lineup. And I also just know Roofski. I know Roofski better.
Yeah. There's definitely some close matchups here. I agree about Yoxter bring with the Mage Bring. That can really potentially work the series quite a bit. It's interesting to see Warlock bring from Justin. Like, it's not, the class isn't unplayable. It's obviously not as strong, but there is a new variant that has kind of been played and refined lately, that kind of works towards getting giants out as fast, like getting as much of the quest done and getting your giants out as fast as possible type of deck, which I mean, it's kind of what Warlock's always been doing anyways. But I'm interested to see what type of Warlock deck Justin wants to bring to this match. Obviously Mick already won. I was gonna point that as my most interesting match between the two, and Mick already won. It was a direct mirror of classes as well. So I would be curious to have seen what type of different decks were being brought, because of those classes really, besides mage, are all flexible with the deck lists that you can bring.
What's also worth mentioning is that I'm looking at the results here on the page. Both of them banned Rogue.
Yes, Rogue was pretty good at both of their lineups for sure. Rogue would be capable of probably sweeping other side, and Mick does say it was an aggro druid versus an Anaconda, which definitely favors the aggro. I played that matchup in Hero last week. In the aggro, and I was able to take that with my aggro druid.
Oh, 100%. That matchup is pretty clear cut. I also think, though, in regards to the Warlock that you were mentioning before, Fish, I think the list that you were referring to, that I know I saw, that list on ladder a little bit here and there, like with the idea now is that, like, some of them are playing a bit more self-damaging cards, so you can kind of get the giants, cheat the giants out a bit faster. But looking at some of the GM submissions for this week, the final week of the regular season, I'm noticing some people are bringing mostly unaltered lists from before.
Like just handlock. Yeah, handlock is still fine. Yeah. Because you weren't.
I mean, it's still fine, absolutely, but
definitely.
it kind of goes to show there's different approaches that are kind of going to be taken.
Definitely.
Maybe we'll see a little bit more variety this time around, considering before it was just like you're either playing handlock or you're playing the extra fatigue lock, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm very excited to see kind of what happens now, because I like the fact that Warlock is still very much playable, but it is by no means a must bring anymore, which is
definitely
a very welcome change.
I would argue there's no must bring class right now, which is so good to kind of experience.
Agreed.
But
Yeah,
but it leaves
Rogue
it leaves a
and
lot
Druid, yeah.
it leaves a lot of things in flux.
I would say the closest thing to a must bring class is probably Rogue because of how powerful it is. But there's easily an argument to make that the matchups aren't always so favored for you, and that it's
Yeah,
high skill curve or high skill cap
yeah,
is enough reason not to bring it.
for sure. Um, yeah. So let's keep this ball rolling. We go from at Diamond versus Mass to Geranium's pick. Which
Yeah, it's going to be Bolner Jams 03 versus NPH. So Bolner Jams 03 had a hot start to the season. I believe they were up 4-0, and now they're at 4-3 as a team. And they are more near the center of the standings, whereas before they were literally at the top, alongside at Diamond, who also has slightly fallen. So
It's interesting that this team's record is the exact same way that Donde's individual record is.
yeah,
Starting off 4-0 and then going to 4-3.
yep. If Donde wins, the team wins, it seems. And I
The captain has the most control, clearly.
I unfortunately believe Donde will lose against your mum kid. I think your mum kid is insane in the 2 seed. However, the 1 seed I think is maybe going to be the closest matchup. I think Ron Mexico absolutely kills it in Hero now. He had a great season last season. He's having a great season this season, and I'm sure Agent Pee Wee will love it when I pick against him here. I won't hear that from him later. But yeah, Ron, I think is going to take it over Agent Pee Wee. Your mum kid takes it over Donde, which means that Bolno Jam 03 will unfortunately be fated to lose, as I think that Chewbacca will take it over Onfall. And then between the last two, Pasca versus the Big Ted and Quaz versus Snake Fods, I think one of them is going to go no pros Kier's way. I just don't know which, because Pasca likes to bring sort of, the weird decks. So like he could be favored just because the Big Ted might not be ready for it, but he also might just int himself into losing that match. But I do still think no pros here, since they could win either of those two, I think they will win the week.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I agree that I do think Ron's gonna win. I do think your Mumkid has the advantage over Donde, but by no means is there a massive skill gap there. Posca versus Ted. Ted did get a win last week, and I think he's going to I think he'll get the win here for Posca. I think Onfall will get the win in the 4, and I give it to Snake Fods down in the 5. Since Snake Fods has been in the 5 and he's been winning, and I think that's good for him to be down there. Shu is definitely a good competitor in the 4 seed for sure. He's definitely a 4 seed type of player. Snake Fods could hold his own in the 5 as well, in the 4, but he was struggling this season. So I think it's better. I think just for the team, it's better to have someone who's struggling to play a seat lower than they might have been at the beginning, to get that confidence back. But I do have the week going to Boner Jams in the end. In a 3-2.
I by the way, I do want to say that both of these teams are below sort of a halfway point on the roster, meaning that they both definitely need this win in order to get back into playoff contention.
Yeah.
It is nearing the end of the season, so this is some of the hypest matches that we can have are some of these teams clawing over each other to get back in there.
Boner Jams actually just last week was sitting top 2, but they took a brutal loss to one of the teams we are going to be talking about in our next match, last week. So I expect to see a bounce back from them this week. NPH has been kind of kind of been struggling all season. Uh, besides Agent's been really consistent. But unfortunately, even with 2-4 and 3 players, the other players having a 2-5 record, is kind of put them in a position where they have to now really step it up to like fight in towards playoffs, because the middle and top teams are still going to be obviously gaining points as well, so they need to get a big week here,
right,
and continue that forward to make that move upwards. All right.
Yeah, I mean, this is both these teams really need a win at this point. That's the thing. I would say, of course, NPH needs this one more, but Bolner Jams, you could argue, need it more just because of the way their upward momentum just kind of crashed, and they've just been struggling these last few weeks. Last thing I want to see is for this downward trend to continue. So I do hope Bolner Jams pulls it together. But I mean, NPH, especially after the run they had last season, I could see them taking this. It's a close call. It's a very close call. I will also say I think the match between Donde and Your Mom Kid is actually going to be closer than you might think. As much as Geranium thinks. As much as I do think Your Mom Kid is insane in the two, I really feel like Donde is right up there with him. So
sorry, after the yellow Gatorade incident, I can only root against Donde. So
there we go.
Really,
the yellow Gatorade.
That's what we're calling it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know.
God.
Anyways,
watching that unfold as a bystander was something else. I say.
I think I wasn't like paying attention. All of a sudden, I was like, what I was like, what, they renamed the chat again? Oh boy, what is this about? Anyways, yeah, this is definitely a really interesting match this week. We do have one more to talk about. Two teams that are higher up, that are pretty high up in the standings. We're talking about Dad Legend versus Bands Make 'em Dance. We've got two teams coming off of, I believe they both got good wins last week. Bands being the team that really took it to Bolner Jams 0-3 last week. So for matchups here, we've got Isocles versus Based Inc. We've got Starlax versus Nails. We've got Coradad versus Astral Frog. We've got Yellow Dart versus Seth. And we've got Risen versus Roadrunner. So right off, like, the 1 seed match for this is kind of one of those classic 1 seed matches we always see in Hero every season, just because they're like, a lot of these matches we see a lot every season, like Base versus Ron versus Isocles, like Base, like Neji versus Ron, Neji versus pretty much all these other like 1 seeds who have just been around for seasons, and that's going to be a barn burner. Starlax versus Nails. Starlax is really showing up in the 2 seed this season, and Nails is awesome. Nails is sitting at 5-2 as well. He's having a pretty good season for himself. Coradad versus Astral, like, another really great matchup. Coradin, essentially, one of the I'd consider him, like, just stats wise, he's one of the best players in Hero right now. Yellow Dart and Seth, a really interesting matchup. Someone like a veteran of THL, and Seth, who hasn't really played Hero that many seasons, and he's mainly a WoW player, but he's also like been holding his own for his 2 seasons. And Risen versus Roadrunner, I'd say it might be a little bit more lopsided. Roadrunner is a very good player who's under PR'd in Hero. He had a rough season last season. So I expect, but seeing him at 2-1, he's definitely performing well. Picking individual matches, Based, I'm gonna give it to Based. Gonna continue her streak. She took a win over Ron last week, so gonna carry the momentum to against Isocles, her podcast co-host from last season. Starlax versus Nails. I'm gonna pick Starlax. This is gonna continue his run, and to go to 7-1 on the season. Gordon versus Astral. Gordon's hot. I'm gonna pick him again. I'm gonna pick him to win against Astral. I'm gonna pick Seth in the 4 and Risen in the 5. So that's a 3-2 for Dad Legend, but a close week.
Okay. I did say I was going to have some spicy takes, and I think
I'm
this
ready
is
for
going
them.
to be my spiciest. I think
That's saying a lot, though. That's saying
I
a lot.
think,
You've had some very spicy takes before.
I'm pretty sure Barnes is going to 5-0.
Really?
Wow.
I think.
Okay.
I think Based is cracked. And Based can't. Based can't win in Legacy right now because
Base isn't playing.
she's captaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Based
I
has
was
to
gonna say
win
she's
in
not playing
Hero.
in Legacy.
Yeah. Like if you remember the absolute streaks that Based was on of just winning every single week in every single conference, I feel like that should that gives that inherently gives Based the edge. Nails is like top 1 legend, so and I feel bad that Nails is below 550 PR, so that's gonna fix itself. Astro Frog is related to Based, has Based Ink blood running in his veins. There's I think that will give him the edge, and honestly, he's just very, very good at the game as well. And then Seth and Roadrunner are both also very good. Roadrunner is on like a mission since he wasn't picked at the beginning of the season. He is on a mission to just win every single week, it seems, and I think that's going to continue.
So, here's my thing with that. I think that's a very spicy take. But my big issue with that prediction is simply that, you're talking about a matchup where, Bans is obviously really strong. Nobody's going to dispute that. But at the same time, I'm thinking, look at Dad Legend and look at how well they're doing and look at some of the records of the players you're seeing. Like, on one hand, yes, Nails is incredible, but Starlax and Nails and Astro Frog are both really good. But Starlax and Corden, I mean, look at them. They're both 6-1 right now.
Yeah.
I feel like one of them, I'm not saying they're definitely gonna win, but what I am saying is I can't picture a 5-0 given the circumstances here. I mean, as good as I think Roadrunner is, I do not see him beating Risen. I do not. I think Risen at the very least is going to win in the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick counterpoint is I think that Dad Legend doesn't need this as much as Bans does.
I think Dad Legend I'll counterpoint that Dad Legend is just barely outside the top 2 and they're gonna want that bye week. Like both of these teams are fighting for the bye at this point, even with because the teams above them are barely above them. In F2O Black and at Diamond being the top two right now, but I think that this is I mean it based on last week. Yeah, Bans definitely is climbing and definitely wants it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take a very nice week for sure. And sweeps have happened. We've seen a few full team sweeps over this season. Probably more than we've seen more than we've seen in usual. So very much looking forward to seeing how these matches play out for sure. And it'd be spicy if there was a full sweep. For sure.
I mean, it wouldn't be impossible. I can't see it, though. I can't see it in these circumstances.
We'll just have to see.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Good points made by everybody. For sure. So we're going to move on out of Hero, and we're going to move into our Legacy Series format, which is a closed deck list conquest. For those who do not know. First things first, we only have a couple weeks left in the season, which means I get to show the standings. So standings are up on the screen. All 3 conferences at once. So just kind of going to go down the list. I'll run down the Gold Conference where we have Golden Wisps, strongly in control. They actually have one win this week already, over Meme Dream Team. So they're 128 points. They were at 124 to start the week. Defiance Brotherhood, the Cult Legacy, Agent P, Ellie and the Light Showers, Dad Legend are all above 100 points. Meanwhile, Meme Dream Team, Flame Pimps, and Sarah Knight Gang are below the 100 mark. Meme Dream Team, Flame Pimps, they are both in the race still at this point. A couple of real good weeks, and they could pull it, and they could really pull up some good points. Meme Dream Team going up against Golden Wisps, it looks like definitely could potentially get knocked out of contention if Golden Wisp really take it to them. We do have one. We will have a match from each conference to cover.
Yep.
I don't want. I'm not going to take a crack at which teams are going to make it and not make it. Just yet.
That's going to be next week.
Next.
We're going to do that next.
Yeah, next week, because next week will be the week that we can give our full on predictions.
We're just going to kind of go through a brief synopsis of what the standings are, because we can at least kind of give a somewhat close picture. Because one of the things that's also pretty exciting about this is that fun fact, there isn't a team that is technically mathematically locked.
There's no
for making playoffs.
There's no locks, but I bet by next. I think I'll say by next week we'll have at least one team locked, and I'm gonna say
next week. I suspect we're gonna have two. I think next week we're gonna have two.
I think Golden Wisps and we'll talk about Silver when we get there. We'll cover Silver last. I'll go left, right, and then down. I think Wisp will lock up, and Cult Legacy is the team that has most surprised me this season in general. So good on them to be up there. And we'll move to Red Conference next. Geranium, you want to go ahead and talk about Red Conference?
Yeah, Red Conference is so spread among all the different sort of players in it. At the beginning of the season, everyone was talking about how crazy the Silver Conference is, but just looking at how the Red Conference did last week, pretty much every single one of them won against the other two conferences. So maybe the power is actually located in Red Conference, given that they're able to win the cross conferences and then make it so almost all of them are above 100 points. Just looking at it, the Cooler, Chaos Theory, F12 White, all of them are basically tied almost going into playoffs.
Yeah.
It's going to be an insane playoffs race for the Red Conference, and we can only hope to predict what could happen.
I mean, Red is definitely is going to be the hardest one, I think, to predict, both because it's not only the closest spread, but it's also there's no team that is looking likely to be that top seed. I have a strong feeling that there's not going to be that even after this week, it's going to be there's not going to even be a likely front runner for that bye. Because I think at this point it's just way too close to call. But I'm still very excited to see how this one's going to play out, because when you really look at it, you've got 6 teams that have a really good shot of making it to playoffs. I would say that both STD and DeStubbs are pretty much out of it with only 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
Mathematically speaking, I think the problem is there's too much of a gap that have to make up on too many teams. So I'd say they're both out. But then when you go look at the other 6, it's literally every single one of these teams not only have a shot at making playoffs, but in theory could actually take that top spot. That's insane.
I actually think STD could still make it. Right now they're facing the Stubbs this week. And if they absolutely cannibalize that team, then they could still definitely be in it, depending on how the 3, the Cooler, Chaos Theory, F12, how they shake out.
Yeah.
Technically, I think technically you're not wrong, but I think the gap in points is something they could make up, but at the same time they'd have to make that up against, several teams, 3 teams basically. And they'd have to have 2 nearly perfect weeks in order to make that happen. So,
yeah.
I don't know if that's possible.
It's not likely.
but
It's not likely.
Good.
yeah,
I mean, in theory, if they win, let's say, eight out of the 10 matches the rest of the season, that would be really good for
Yeah.
them. Like,
but that would also depend on how many points the other teams get, and
yes.
those are
And
we're
that's-
talking
and
like
that's-
three.
oh no,
three
that
teams
oh
at
no,
least.
I completely agree with that. It's
Yeah,
very
that's-
difficult.
That's really where
Yeah,
it gets complicated.
That's that's gonna be an argument you can also use in the Silver Conference for the team that's in the exact same spot as STD.
Well,
Yes,
honestly, not really though, because the gap isn't quite as high that they have to make up.
I guess you're right.
I would make the argument
let's-
that with Silver,
Yes,
let's move on to Silver
Let's go to
quickly.
Silver.
Silver is in a very similar position compared to Gold. The top 3 spots are mostly pretty convincing at the moment. And then that 4th spot is really what I think is really being fought over at the moment. Wallet Warriors are in a pretty comfortable position at the moment, with All Pros missing an IDK, my team, of course, both really on their tail. I think Wallet Warriors are most likely going to hold on to that top spot just because they've got enough of a gap where it's going to be hard to make up for it even in 2 weeks. But I think I think by the end of this week they're going to at the very least be locked for playoffs, which will be very good for them. All Pros missing and Illidan's Death Knights are also are also in a pretty tough spot. I think if they win this week, they would really need to a really really bad week in the final week to screw up their playoff chances. And then right behind them, you've basically got Not Justin, Hot Zilfs, Dirty Mike and the Boys, and Amberflight Gaming all fighting for that 4th spot. I really think that's going to be the big fight in the Silver Conference, that 4th spot. I could see one of these teams getting that coveted 4th seed bye that we talk about, because obviously after the top seeds are from each conference are decided, the team with the most amount of points after that is going to get a bye as well. I could definitely see that go into one of the Silver Conference teams given the current standings.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean it's pretty close. I mean, between Not Justin and Amberflight Gaming, the amount of points is only 12. That's still definitely, that spot is anybody's game at the moment.
Yeah, I want to be hopeful for the season, but my team's been struggling so much. It's just been a rough season for pretty much everybody but Neji.
In fairness, though, it could be worse.
Oh no, it could definitely be worse.
Considering there are two teams right now that are completely winless.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, we're up against a real good team this week, and if we wanna have a chance, we have to put up a lot of points in a loss, or we have to get the win and win win pretty well. I don't think it matters how many points IDK scores on us this week. I think it just matters how much we score. So
right.
Obviously,
the more points you guys get, the better.
We're obviously gonna put our best. We're gonna put our best forward this week. We're not talking about this match when we get into the actual match showing spoilers. But
yes,
no, I'm excited. I'm excited. No,
I tried to suggest in the chat that we were going to talk about that, but no, that's not actually happening, unfortunately.
No. And that's fine. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the end to like kind of watch the end of the season unfold. I'm very you know, I think that the Silver Conference is going to be amazing to see unfold, because there's so many things that could happen. I mean, our team as a whole is not unfamiliar with making runs at the end of the season to make playoffs. And I was not sure. I didn't look to see exactly how close we were, but we'll see. Next week our team faces Redfish next week after IDK. So maybe that
which could be a really good week for you guys. That's the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That could be exactly what you guys need.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is essentially the standings at the moment for Legacy.
Yep.
Like we said, there's one more week left after this. And next week we will be talking about in more detail which teams we think are going to make playoffs and get an idea of what we think the actual playoff makeup is going to look like.
Yeah.
Because not only do we have to predict who's going to make playoffs, but more specifically, who do we think is going to finish in those spots that get the buys?
For sure.
I think I'm probably going to make another one of those prediction long blog post type things on the Discord, but for actual individual matches, Tavern Talk is the place to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next week.
Oh, god dang it, Geranium! Come on.
Well, next week will be good. Next week will be a good one.
That's not for the record. We're not going to miss playoffs by 1 point this time around.
Oh, really?
No, they definitely no.
We're not missing. If I have any look, if I have anything to say about it, we are not missing playoffs. Oh, thanks, Donkey. For the record, we have missed playoffs by 2 points, and we've missed playoffs by 3 points. I'm not even kidding. IDK has been close to making playoffs 3 times. Once we missed by 1 point, once we missed by 2, and once we missed by 3. I wish I was making this up. If it's 4 points this time, I quit. I quit everything.
I really wish it wasn't true. Because I think 2 of the seasons I've sat here on Tavern Talk with you, and we've been so, and I've just been like, please, like, I have been rooting for your team, like your team and my team the entire time during that. But
I know
we're
it's
getting for sure.
We're getting off topic, but we'll talk about that more next week. Let's get on to the first of the legacy matches we'll be talking about. We're going to go with my pick first. I decided to talk about a Gold Conference team. A Gold Conference match. That would be Defias Brotherhood versus Agent P, Ely, and the Light Showers. I decided to go with this match because both of these teams are very much in the thick of the playoff hunt. Defias Brotherhood is currently in the second place, with Agent P being in 4th place. So right now, both of these teams are making playoffs, and Agent P, really, they're looking for this win more than both of these teams are really looking for a win here, because I guarantee you, whichever team wins this week is not guaranteed to be making playoffs, but I'm very confident they're going to make playoffs, just because they're going to have a sizable lead over all the teams that are in the bottom 4 right now. And that's exactly what they need in order to lock up that spot. And both of these teams are, of course, performing very well. Defias with a 5-2 record and Agent P with a 4-3 record. Going through the individual matches, I'm really excited, honestly, for the 1 and the 2 seed matches. Classy Thug versus Agent PWE. That one is going to be great. We, of course, are all very familiar with Agent PWE. And Classy Thug is pretty new to THL. He started off in the 2 seed this season and then found himself eventually moving up to the 1, and he is killing it right now. My God. And then, of course, we've got Wild 9 versus Nails. Arguably 2 of the most busted 2 seeds in THL right now. Then, of course, we've got Neb Canuck versus Geranium battle. Comp versus Canoe in the 4. That one I'm also very excited for, because that's 2 powerhouses in the 4. And then lastly, we've got the real their alert. Well, wait, hold on. Is it the realer, their allure?
No one knows.
Nobody knows. Okay, fair enough. In those 2, the realer versus Eternal in the 5. But remind me, Geranium, who is normally in your 5?
Roofski would be in the 5, but actually Eternal is perma-subbing. So
okay. So we're gonna have ourselves a permanent new 5 seed here. All right. Just out of curiosity, what was Roofski's PR before being subbed out? Do you remember?
It was negative, so it was 50.
Okay, so it was also 50.
It was like barely negative.
All right. Well, I mean, hopefully Eternal brings home a win for you guys this week, because I know how much you guys must really want that win. But I'm gonna predict. It's my boy Geranium. I definitely would love a good upset here. So I'm gonna say, let me see. I'm gonna say Classy Thug takes in the 1. I'm gonna say Nails takes it in the 2. Geranium takes it in the 3. Canoe takes it in the 4, and then their allure takes it in the 5. So I'm gonna say 3-2. H&P, Ellie and the Light Showers. Gotta try saying that 3 times fast.
If you want me to, I can.
I know you can, but that's because you have a talent that I don't have.
Anyways,
Yeah,
instead of using the gift of gab, I'm going to talk about how Agent P. Ellie and the Light Showers needs this a lot more than Defias Brotherhood. Looking at the schedule, Defias Brotherhood's opponent in the final week is Serenite Pain Gang, which, Serenite Pain Gang always has a chance to win. They've been very, very extremely close many weeks. I'm just saying a team that is 0-6 is probably easier than Agent P. Ellie and the Light Showers' opponent, which is the Cult Legacy in the final week. So Agent P. Ellie and the Light Showers being on the cusp there, being in the 4th spot. They're the next one behind them is 101, and they're at 109 right now. So it's closer to where they kind of Agent PLE kind of needs this win, and looking at the 3 seeds, I know I'm one of the 2-3 seeds. I've lost 3 weeks in a row, so I'm looking to reverse the curse, pretty hopefully, and so I need this win. Freaking Canoe's played 2 games all season, 2 matches all season, and I'd like to see him at a positive win rate. So he needs this win, and this is Eternal's second match ever in THL, and so he's fiending for a win too. And that's not even talking about the top seeds who are freaking busted on both sides. I know I'm not talking much about Defias Brotherhood's absolute quality in the bottom seeds, but that's because I'm scared. I'm scared of them. Neb Canuck was a 4 last season, and won when Defias faced Talk, and I would very much like to win. Dr. Feach, what are you gonna say?
I don't have a whole lot to say about the match, unfortunately. I assume both of you have kind of did quite a lot. I had to step away for most of the conversation. This looks like a really good match, though. Really good pick by JR. Excited to see some of these matchups. So definitely gold conflict. Two of the top teams from Gold going at it. So it's gonna be this one will have some implications.
Oh yeah,
both ways.
That's part of the reason I picked this one, honestly, because I saw these teams in regards to the standings and kind of went.
I think all of our matches have some good implications that we've picked this week. And I picked mine, and I definitely inadvertently picked a match that had some stakes. Because I was just like looking at what matches we haven't really covered much this season, and I figured it out. I figured out one of the teams that we've kind of been not talking about, who is actually in first place and has been in first place for most of the season. Out of the Red Conference, I have picked Bluefish versus Chaos Theory. We haven't talked much about Bluefish, but they are having an absolute killer season. Starting at the top with the 5-2 RoboCats, and he will be going up against Lawful Dog this week. We've got the 6-1 A2 Battleship versus Notorious GHP. We have Hickett versus Isocles, Dead Snoop 123 versus Risen, and Judo Chop versus Kodomora in the 5. So the note for standings, I believe, Bluefish is leading Red, and Chaos Theory is sitting, I believe, in either 3rd or 4th, or maybe just outside of the top. I can quickly actually check that.
I believe they're in 5th.
So Chaos Theory is tied for 4th with the Cooler. So they are, they're right in the hunt. Um, and I know Chaos Theory has kind of had this thing. They're doing it again this season. They started so hot, and now they have cooled off to where they are now with the cooler. And Bluefish has just been playing steadily all season, having a 1 and 2 seed combination that is winning most weeks. Definitely helps you keep a good record. Individual matchups. I unfortunately have not really get to see RoboCats play much. Sitting at a 5-2 record, really good. Lawful Dog, I do know Lawful Dog put a good win together against Ron Mexico this year, against this season against my team. And even though we look at Ron's, if we were to look at Ron's legacy record, he is struggling really hard, but he's been fighting so hard every single match, and most of them are 3-2s. Either way. A2 versus GHP. A2's having a heck of a season. GHP, I guess he's kind of been going up and down. I would really like to see GHP. I really want to see Chaos Theory put together a strong week. I think I want to see RoboCats get the win in the 1. I want to see GHP get the win in the 2. Isocles versus Hickett. Isocles is very under PR'd somehow in Legacy as a 550. He's kind of got that same thing with Ron, where like he's playing the 3 in Legacy but playing the 1 in Hero. But I think Isocles takes it over Hickett. I'll give it. I think Dead Snoop versus Risen is really close, but I'll give it to Dead Snoop. And then Kodomora in the 5 will taking the win over Judo Chop. That does give it a 3. That I am picking 3-2 for Chaos Theory. But I think this can be a pretty make or break week for Chaos Theory. They kind of need this more. They might need it a little more than Bluefish, although the conference is so close. Both teams really need to win with good points. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. Bluefish was 4-0-1 2 weeks ago. So Bluefish has been losing recently, and I will agree with you that the trend will probably continue.
Okay.
This one,
Interesting.
This one, I don't think I do have any spicy takes really. Lawful Dog wins. A2 Battleship wins. I think Hickett versus Isocles. I actually think Hickett is probably going to win. Isocles is definitely a hero specialist. Which is why he's in the 3 in Legacy. I think Hickett has the support here. However, I picked against Risen in Hero. I'm gonna pick for him now in Legacy and say Risen takes it over Dead Snoop, and then Kodomora over Judo Chop for once again 3-2 Chaos Theory over Bluefish, which might be enough to keep them in Chaos Theory in going into the final week. If they have another win in the final week, then they'll definitely be in. Otherwise, it is up to their loss in the final week or this week. How bad that is.
Yeah. And since we went, and I guess I didn't realize that I went out of order on matches. I jumped the gun, but that's because we're gonna save. So we saved Silver Conference for last. We went in order of the way we talked about them in the thing unintentionally. So let's move into the Silver Conference, the match that Uranium has picked.
Yeah. This is another heater of a match. We've got All Pros Missing versus Hot Zelfs. These guys are I know All Pros Missing has a lot more points than Hot Zelfs, but they are this is Hot Zelfs like big contention point. They have a win already. Donde has beaten Cheesy 10. I would like to say Donde will lose, and I think I will. Donde is going to lose this week. Just not in Legacy anymore. Meanwhile, with the other seeds here, I think Hot Zelfs has a definite chance in order to really still stay in it in the Silver Conference, despite the fact that All Pros Missing is second overall in the lineup. Hot Sills really needs this, whereas All Pros Missing is almost basically locked in, even if they lose. So Jammies versus Avi. It's really hard to say that anyone will beat Avi, so I'm going to give it to him. However, Bone Masher, it's really easy to say someone will beat Bone Masher, so Onfall will win that. Turip versus the Big Ted. I think the Big Ted is going to bring his A game and beat Turip. And then Chewbacca versus Jim Flows. I do think that Jimmy Sweep is or Jimmy Clutch is Jimmy Clutch is the name. Don't mistake that, because he's going to clutch it out over Chewbacca, probably go down 0-2 and then win 3 in a row.
If Trent's taught us anything, that is how it goes. Yeah, it's so interesting. A team in Hot Zilfs that I thought was gonna have another really nice season, and unfortunately has kind of been struggling. They got the 2 ties early in the season, so they did get a lot of points they got like a decent amount of points even in the ties. But if those had been wins, that would be really nice for this team. And you got All Pros Missing, a team that when I was told this team before the season started, I was like, wow, this is a very good team, and I kind of I was like, all right, I might be able to safely predict them for playoffs, although I predicted my own team for playoffs, and look at where my team is. But APM, fantastic team. Bone Masher put together a great squad. They're going up another great squad. Yeah. I think Jammies wins. I think Anfall wins. Cherub versus Ted's gonna be close. I think Cherub. I will give it to Cherub though, and then Jim Philo's down in the 4. So I'm at 5. I'm actually predicting a 4-1. I have confidence in Jammies bouncing. Yeah. So yeah. That's what I'm looking at for this match.
I will just say I love the fact that Donde winning his match means that he's pretty much guaranteed to stay in the 2 seed going into next week, which means I am now guaranteed to get my revenge match against him next week after he beat me in Hero.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, you did that.
Here's the funny thing.
You did that this week, which was
yes, I did.
Which was quite.
And both of those Hero matches were played on stream. Funny enough.
Yeah.
So I am excited to see if what happened with Itachi is going to happen with Donde.
Yeah.
Because boy, do I hope it does.
Yeah.
I love the man, but I need to keep this train. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
For sure.
We'll be talking about that next week. I can assure you.
And definitely, I am looking forward to perhaps talking about it next week. We will see how we pick matches.
Only time will tell.
Yes, time will tell. And it is now time, speaking of time, for our commercial break before we go into our final series. I'm going to move us back over to the main host screen. That means Geranium gets to take it away.
Oh, I have to pre-type. Oh, no. Okay, that's good enough. So, thank you so much for tuning into Tavern Talk. If you're enjoying our show, make sure you check out Around the Saloon and the Maniacal Tournament series on Mondays, and Ronnie Tuesday on Heart Center on Sunday. You will never guess. Are you still asking, where's my content? Well, we additionally have Wild and Out every single Thursday. That's a new show for you. That's going to be all about Wild. And we have THL matches each night from Thursday to Sunday, starting at 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern. All of the match schedules are being determined by cast and replay Availability, side effects may include knowledge and fun. But wait, that's not all. We also have incredible matches on weekend afternoons on Schoolstone. Precise times and days are subject to availability. Speaking of which, please consider subscribing to our Twitch channel. This subscription enables the THL team to help cover the various costs of operating our website and improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. And you see someone asking in our chat, what is Twitch Prime? Twitch Prime or Amazon Gaming is a way for you to sub to the channel for free. You just go down to the bottom of the stream and you click that little purple button. It takes only about 5 clicks and you can bim bam boom get a Twitch Prime sub going like JR did earlier on in the stream. So hit that hard button and keep the notifications on to make sure you catch our team streams live. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Special note to our viewers, check out THL other social media points of interest. The website is at teamhearthlegends.com. Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us at Discord at Team Hearth Legends. THL POW podcast is missing. And we can do Players of the Week on the blog.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the people who have been doing POW have been a bit busy this season. These things happen. I'm sure we could get some stuff for playoffs potentially as well. We'll see how things play out. So yeah, definitely. If you have the Twitch Prime sub, and you want to support us, obviously it's much appreciated. It's not forced. But yeah, go ahead and support the stream if you'd like. Support this whole shebang. So we have one more series left to go, which is our Pro Series. Our open deckless conquest format series, where there is no PR cap, so you are going to see a lot of this player is insane for the next
a lot of shenanigans.
A lot of really good players, and we're gonna start off with a really good match in the Black Conference. JR has gone ahead and picked this match.
Yes, I did. I very much did. I decided to go with two pretty well established teams. Of course, on one end, we've got Brushy Tuna, the stacked roster of Ron Mexico, Desharmo, Based Inc., Lotus Knight, and Donde. And on the other side, we've got, of course, no pros here, made up of your Mumkid, Agent PWE, Kaz 1291, Lolnenko, and X Kume. So, yeah, I pretty much recognize everybody except for Kaz 1291. Everybody here is pretty established in some form. So this is going to be a fun one. Ron versus your Mumkid is the type of match that I am happy we could easily see in a PR THL series, but I'm certainly glad it's happening here regardless. Desharmo versus PWE is not something that is definitely a pretty even match in my opinion, but based on PR, you wouldn't be super likely to see that, at least in Legacy. Based Inc. versus Kaz, that's going to be that should be a good one too. Lolnenko versus Lotus Knight, I am pretty stoked to see if Lolnenko can pull off a nice upset. And X Kume versus Donde, the two very solid 5 seeds to round it off. I'm going to say that Brushy Tuna takes this one 3-2. I'm going to say that Ron, Based, and Lotus Knight take wins to give Brushy Tuna that win for the week. What about you guys?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Maybe you guys think that this is a spicy take, but it's the same take I'm going to have every single week, and I think it's going to be true every single week as it has been the past 2 weeks. I think Brushy Tuna will lose, and they lost last week and they lost the time before that. However, I do currently think that the decks shown for Desharmo versus Agent PWE do favor Desharmo. Agent PWE brought an Anaconda Druid. And Desharmo did not bring a mage. So kind of has to get a win against the warrior or no dice on that druid actually making it through. The other classes, though, for Agent PoE, Quest Hunter, Quest Mage, and Garrote Rogue are very easy to get wins with. I just think it's since it's Conquest format, he needs to get a win with that Anaconda, and I don't think it's going to be possible against the Aggro Shaman, Aggro Druid, and Aggro Demon Hunter. Not looking great. However, rest of the guys on the team there, I mean, Donde's on screen, so X Kume is going to win that one. And then I think your Mumked and Lolnenko will win their matches, and that's already 3. So
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, I actually agree with your analysis of Desharmo versus Agent PWE's classes. I think Ron's gonna win. I think Desharmo's gonna win. I think Based is gonna win. But from there, I think NPH has real chances of taking the bottom 2. I think Brushy Tuna wins the week. It's just gonna be a matter of how. It's just, um, you know, I want to see him get a bounce back week. We're heading into playoff. Brushy Tuna should very likely make the playoffs in Black Conference. They are pretty high up in the standings at this point. So yeah, I think they take this week with the top 3. Bonuses if Lotus and Dode can get win.
yeah, I think even though Brushy Tuna will lose, I think they will make playoffs still.
Yeah,
just because
for sure.
the 5th place team, Swagoi, is
Very far out.
it's 19 points behind them.
Yeah, this conference is pretty divided. Between the teams, like the top and the bottom.
Divided on it. Divided is on the other conference.
Oh, is Black actually pretty close?
No. I'm saying the team divided is on the other.
Undivided is in the other conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
No, it is very stratified.
Mm-hmm.
Very split.
Okay, makes a lot of sense.
Sorry.
No, all good indeed. We're gonna head into another Black Conference match, and this one, man, this match got left up, and Geranium took it at the last couple minutes. What a great match you've picked. Go ahead and lay it out for us.
I mean, this is an obviously cracked match.
Mm-hmm.
Bread Ape versus Hyperizon. This is literally finals from last season. So to see it happening again is crazy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Also to see Hyperizon not doing so well is incredibly crazy. Bread Ape is still doing very well. I mean, Heat Shock is 6-0. Valdis is 5-1. Ufrik isn't doing as well as he did last season. C-Mac as well. C-Mac was, a seed or 2 higher. But Hyperizon doing worse. Liquidox, who was undefeated going into the playoffs, is 2-4, which is so out of character. That's D-Money's spot that he's taking. So that's not allowed. As it stands, I feel like Hyperizon, because their top players are down at the bottom for whatever reason, I think Hyperizon could take this week, but I think they're still going to miss playoffs just because they're at 78 points, and 4th place is currently on 95. We looked at No Pros here just a little bit ago.
Yeah, and I think Pro is going to be another conference that we're going to get to talk about next. We're going to be able to talk more about them next week. This is week 8, so their final week is also next week. I will have standings for both Pro and Legacy for next week. I didn't quite know the scheduling for Pro, but we have 2 series concluding next week. We'll have information for playoffs for both conferences next week on the show. So I'm very excited about this match as well. McBannerface versus Heatshock is a really good match. Gamer RVG versus Valdis is a really good match. Kind of down the line, I'm a bit surprised to see Ufrik struggling as much as he is this season. As well as C-Mac. But these things happen, and the rest of the team has been picking them up. Which, is what a really good team is capable of doing. Hyper Horizon, it's like seeing Liquidox as the bottom seeded player at 2-4 when last season he held the 1 up until even the final week he was still the 1 seed. Final week being the finals of the season. So yeah, I don't have any specific prediction. I do think Bread Ape. I think this will be another really good fight, but if Bread Ape can kind of do what they did in the finals last season, which is get a good read on what Hyper Horizon might be playing and kind of do their wash you type of lineups to do some good counterplay, we'll see what happens. But yeah, Bread Ape looks pretty well in position for playoffs. Hype Horizon, unfortunately, just doesn't seem to have the points right now. So we'll see how the Black Conference plays out going into the final week.
Yeah, this is currently a pretty young meta.
Yes,
the changes were so recent.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be super interesting to see how Bread Ape counters the new meta.
Mm-hmm.
They decide on doing.
Yeah.
But we got one more match in a different conference of Pro to talk about.
Yes, we do. And we have from Pink Conference my match, which is the 5 boxing wizards jumping quickly versus F2L. Yes, I did. I guess it must be in my contract somewhere that I have to pick an F2L match every week. And I feel like I've been picking their pro team most weeks of the season. As I'm a big fan of their pro team in general. So matchups, we do see that the 1-seeded match, Donkey, who was here in chat earlier, has taken a sweep over Rabobson. A very strong start for Boxing Wizards this week. Getting a sweep over the defending or over the reigning player of the week in Pro. Other matchups, we have Darter Binks versus Marty B, Total Orange versus QSNS, Aquaman 575 versus Sunday, and Refla versus Itachi. I guess I will take a peek over at the Pink Conference standings, but looking at these matchups, it's very tough to root. It's very tough to bet against Dardar or Total Orange based on how things were going. And even if Donkey's match hadn't been won, it would have been tough to pick against him. Although I would have said that him versus Rabobson would have been closer than a sweep. But we're looking at the top seeded Pink Conference team, or the team who came in second place, only to the team who had the bye week in Aussie Pro Mafia. Then we have the 5th seeded F2L. Again, this is another week where F2L really has to show up. And they have to outperform Sheepies and Popeyes, who are ahead of them, to kind of keep up in that race. Because APM is still going to be at 116, and it's going to be very difficult for any of the 3 teams below them, besides maybe Popeyes with a win, to pass them up. But the 5 boxing wizards seem to be just really far ahead of the rest of conference. But this has a lot of implications because F2L is kind of on that bubble, because of how tight the race is for 4th and for like 3rd, 4th, 5th in the Pink Conference. And gonna really need to play like like Itachi, who's been struggling in Pro, after having to take some weeks off, and has still kind of been trying to find his footing with everything going on. I would love to see him get a win over Refla. Aquaman versus Sunday. Both players are really insane. Sunday looks like he got a win last week, which is huge. Going up against someone as good as Aquaman, he can definitely match up well. And I would like to see, I would like to see Sunday get the win, but I might lean more towards Aquaman overall. QS Ennis versus Total Orange. I don't know much about Total Orange, but his record tells me that he's obviously playing very well this season. So I will go ahead give Total Orange the nod. And yes, it's Dardar Binks. Yes, he is. Oh, he is like GM caliber player. I know that Marty has one thing that Marty B has going for him is that he has a really good read on he's a really good read on like what type of decks are being what type of decks are being played and what's really good. I'm sure Dardar does as well. But I think it's closer than you might look. And just because I am more of an F2L fanboy, I want to see Marty get the win this week. Close match. I do think that Boxing Wizards will get the win 3-2. With I'll say Marty and Itachi getting the wins for F2L. But I think F2L still gets their points and keeps in the race.
Man, now I understand why we don't feature 5 Boxing Wizards jump quickly all that often. It's because it kind of feels like bullying to the team we put them up against. I feel like it's not even that spicy of a take to say it's a 4-1 or maybe even a 5-0. I mean, F2L is extremely good up and down the board. I just think that, Itachi still hasn't found his groove back and won't find it this week against Refla. And I think Aquaman 575 is going to get the positive win record. I think Total Orange is going to keep QSNS down, and I think Dardar Binks is going to prove that he should be a GM, and Marty B is not. That is all.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, they're a really good team. For sure.
JR, any thoughts on this match, or are we going to end the show?
My mic was muted the whole time, and I was trying to say some stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead.
Jesus Christ. No, in regards to this match, though, I think that I don't think it's such a hot, spicy take to say, like, okay, 5 Boxing Wizards are going to win, like, 4-1 or 5-0. Because when you compare matchup to matchup, it's very plausible, especially when you consider the top 3 seeds of the 5 Boxing Wizards are just killing it. There's only 2 losses between them. We're talking 17 wins and 2 losses. So, yeah, it's hard for me to imagine this team losing at all, let alone losing more than like 2 matches. It's we'll have to see what happens. But I definitely give the edge to 5 Boxing Wizards. But I do hope F2L gets enough points where they can at least get themselves into playoffs.
Yeah, F2L is sort of on the bubble, and I think this is maybe the worst team for them to go up against being there, because Undivided is going to snap at their heels.
Yeah, I mean, that's the team that's really on their tail. If they can just get ahead of Sheepies, who are only 2 points ahead of them, that'd be great. And if they actually get 20 points for the week at least, or 21 points, excuse me, which I know that's not going to be possible. So, yeah, no, they have to bank on passing Popeyes or Sheepies. But it is a big question of, do we think it's possible that, actually, hold on, let me see something. Oh, no, Aussie Pro Mafia is mathematically They're mathematically gonna make playoffs. Never mind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just realized because the only team that could have theoretically, because the worst case scenario that they end up in is Sheepies and Popeyes pass them, but they're still in the 4th seed. F2L, because of that first loss, they are officially unable to pass them.
Oh, but they still have, but there's still a whole other week.
I thought this was the last week.
No, next week is last week.
Oh, I'm dumb. Never mind.
No, there's a whole other week.
Ignore what I said.
I do think APM makes playoffs, but yeah.
Yeah, never mind.
They definitely have a good shot at it, sitting at 116 with another week to play. But we'll talk about that
actually
next week.
that's actually even better for them though in a way, because that means that they don't have a bye the very last week and they're already in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, the team with the bye the last week is Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich.
Oof, that could come back to bite them.
We'll see.
That could.
Yeah, they need a big win here to sort of lock themselves in. They could get passed by F2L actually, since F2L has 2 weeks to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right.
But yeah, that's going to be all 3 series, which are all nearing playoffs. So extremely hype time.
Definitely, yeah. We're one week away from 2 series concluding their regular season. Hero does have a little bit of a longer season than the other 2, going 3 more weeks after this before they even start playoffs. So
yeah, but playoffs for them is also going to be 3 weeks. So
yeah, the other series are going to be concluding the week that Hero finishes.
Yep. So Hero is going to be
so Hero will be the last Hero standing season. And so yeah, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pop back over to the main screen for our closing segment. As always, we have matches that are streamed throughout the weekend, and I have a list of them here for everyone to just kind of run down. Tomorrow, Thursday Throwdown, we have a Hero Series match between Always Just in Time of At Diamond versus Yoxer of Mast. Casters will be Heat Shock and Owl. Friday Night Fights has a pretty nice slate of matches. One is not confirmed, this first match, 7 p.m. The NA Wild Series Brown Conference slate of Aussie Pain Merchants versus Excalibrine of the Pog Merchants. I'm guessing that match will take place, but just on the I don't want to. I will say it's not 100% confirmed yet. But these next 2 things are confirmed. That is Legacy Red Conference action, Always Just in Time, once again going on stream. This time against Vino Spumoni of F2L White. That's Team Justin versus F2L White at 8 p.m. And then at 9 p.m. following the Legacy match, we will have Battlegrounds Lobby A, which will be Corden and Saku taking the reins for that. I assume for the last 2 matches. Salty Saturday, I'm not sure about this week. So I don't really want to say we have matches and then we don't. But there might be some stuff going on. If that does happen, then I know for a fact that if it's gonna happen, that we have a 9 p.m. Legacy match, myself versus Bitbeaker, from the Silver Conference. That is IDK versus AFG. No Schoolstone matches for either day. So if you want to play, Saturday Schoolstone for Wild, I don't believe we're gonna have the op for it. As I will not be available for that. Sunday, though, Lotus Knight is looking for matches between pretty much anywhere from, I'd say, noon Eastern to 5 Eastern. Probably noon to 4, realistically. And then Sunday Showdown, we end the week with looks like 4 matches. 1 is still unconfirmed, which is Legacy Red Conference Judo Chop of Bluefish versus Kodomor of Chaos Theory at 7 p.m. 8 p.m. match, though. We We have Neji Boston versus Fogey 8 from Pro Series for the Clowns versus Faction. 9 p.m. is the Battlegrounds. This is the first week of the finals of Battleground, as there's only going to be 2 weeks, and then we will crown a winner. And then 10 p.m. Eastern, Legacy Gold Conference, Neb Canuck versus Geranium Battle will be the final match of the week. Legacy Gold Conference. Casters for that. I know Steffi comes in and does Battlegrounds on Sunday. And then Dollar Bills or Myanodon, or both of them will be with Saku for the standard matches. And then also note tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, we will have Wild and Out. I'm not sure who Marty's going to have on this week. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be opping the show yet. But either way, it's going to be exciting going over both NA and EU Wild from the last week.
Justin on stream twice this week is going to be very exciting, but yes. I am proud to try and reverse the curse on Sunday night.
Yes.
Be there.
Definitely.
I'm ready for the shenanigans. I'm ready for it.
For sure.
It's going to be fun.
And 2 weeks in a row of Neji going on stream. Last week for his hero match, and this week for his pro match. So, get to see some super high level gameplay.
I'm gonna hope that he utilizes that all of his good fortune is utilized in his pro match and not his legacy match.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely got used up in his wild match as he took a sweep tonight, as I was informed. Oof. No, he won. So.
Oh, he got a sweep.
Yeah, he got a sweep, which is unfortunate. Which is unfortunate for my team, since our two teams are actually facing off this week. But it's tough to it is tough because I obviously didn't want Neji to win this week, but since he has won, it's GG's. But yeah, I mean,
that Earl gives him his first loss in Legacy this week. That's for sure.
Yeah, man, for sure.
For the record, I think if he does finish the regular season with a perfect record, I'm pretty sure he'd be the first player to ever do that twice.
Probably.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that would be very hard to do. I don't even think him and Base for 2 seasons in a row had the same record, but one season they both had a loss. So you're muted.
We did, of course, have not too long ago where Dewin, Base, and Neji all finished with perfect records to end the regular season. I, of course, was almost part of that club, except Notorious GHP decided he wasn't okay with me finishing with a perfect record. So
it happens. But yeah, it was that
would be pretty cool, though. Is the bottom line.
Oh yeah,
I would definitely love this. I would love to if he does beat Earl, then he better win his last match. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I agree. AFG's got to have one player who's, who tried to. Well, he's just been trying to pull us along and helping out as much as he can. But enough about our gushing over Neji, as I tend to do.
We do that a lot, to be fair. All three of us, I feel like.
Yeah. And rightfully so, especially in Legacy.
Exactly.
I will get to it if it happens this season, but he might be breaking the 4 digits in PR. Yeah.
Wait, what?
He has he has 942 Legacy
Wait
PR.
a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're dragging this out longer, and I should just end this.
I know, but I'm gonna check. We're gonna talk about this next week.
We'll really go through it next week if it happens. But he has a lot of PR. Oh
my god, that's insane.
Yeah, he's got an 80% win rate over his seasons. But enough about that. I will now proceed to say thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you for sitting through our ramblings of the last couple of minutes.
Coherent ramblings.
They were coherent. They were definitely coherent. For sure. We have we're very excited for the end of the season, as you can all tell. And next week will be pretty exciting, as we're going to we'll probably be changing up I'll probably be changing up the order potentially of series for next week, but we'll have to talk about that after. But yes, thank you everybody for watching. Next week will be exciting, as I was saying, and make sure to tune in to the rest of our shows for the week. And watch as many matches as you can because they're all going to be fantastic. So.
And definitely let us know next week what you think are going. What do you think are going to be? What your predictions are going to be on who makes it to playoffs?
Yeah, I
for
mean
Legacy and for Pro.
For sure, because I think all three of us next week will be giving our predictions for that when we get to those series. So very exciting stuff. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this week in Tavern Talk. We will see you all next week. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. Please stay safe, everybody. We will see you next week.
Take care, everybody.
Night, guys.